at the first run tech rehearsal of the Salinas Movement Project's updated version of our script. So it is kind of been a process and a really big, thing to try to tackle, because it has so many different topics and so many different issues that we want to address. And it can be difficult when there are so many different perspectives. So we try to do our best at trying to speak on those perspectives from all the views that we could see and find, and be honest and truthful, and also all-encompassing. So I really hope that you guys enjoy tonight's performance. Please give us some noise, give us your feedback. There are going to be moments where you will be using your phones. So have those phones at the ready because we will need them. If you don't have a phone, don't worry. You can shout it out. Number 2, number 1. Yes, yes. And you will see it. I promise you will see it as soon as it comes up, and you will know exactly what we're talking about. So I guess, without further ado, actors, are you ready? Yeah! All right. Without further ado, one last thing, you'll be hearing a lot of reading directions and a lot of side notes, just to give you some context, because you're not seeing them walking around doing the real things. So you hear me talking to the side, I'm just trying to give you a little bit more info and give you some insight as to what's physically happening in the show. So here we go, Salinas Movement Project! Yeah! Do this!
It's so scared.
When basic fucks flex their privilege, you outsmart them, make them victim, or flow around towns while the schools resemble prisons. See, all these rules are all pretentious, bureaucratic backwards business where all the power's at the top and only drops in to win hidden indignance, but never really bearing witness to a single consequence, and consequently very rarely do their actions make much sense. Justifications just make pieces of an increase in pretense, and I find I'm forced to focus on words which deserve their confidence. But I digress, or maybe swerve, since I prefer the sound of round-mouth curves, smooth melodies of emotion, bursting hearts then broken open. But are y'all really open? Can you find hope in the youngest generations, raising their proud faces in the face of so much hatred, finding patience for complacence and building stages beneath basements, learning how to lane shift with a car that speaks another language just when the puzzle's put together, the whole pattern rearranges? This is resilience. The kind with built-in attunement to the spiritual movement, with indigenous blood running through a complementary moonship, equipped with ancestral scars of resistance, experience with hate, tolerance, and acceptance, and the wisdom to know the difference. So there is no basic fuck flexing privilege that can stop this movement.
Relax, social justice warrior.
You're for real.
That was lit though. Gonna kill it.
Thanks, bro. Shut up, fool. You don't even got good taste. Look at those kicks. What are those?
Shut up. How old is that? And where you been?
Yo, that's a pretty ending though.
You were a gift from my tia. Come on.
Oh, snap!
What's going on? What the hell are you looking at over there?
Dude, I just found this footage from that shooting.
Wait, hold up. What happened? I didn't see it. Play it back.
I remember that. was 3 years ago.
Oh, that's the guy that got shot in front of me, Pueblo.
Which one?
Yeah, the cop straight up assassinated him.
What? How?
I don't know about that.
About what?
What don't you know?
Yeah, fool, he was already on the ground. They didn't need to.
Yeah, but it's not always that simple. They're trained to react a certain way and...
Hey, guys.
A certain way if you're black or Mexican.
He had a knife.
But that doesn't justify murder. They had guns.
Bet that wouldn't happen if he were white, though.
Bro, it's not all about race.
Are you serious?
Yo! I'm sorry to interrupt, but I haven't seen the footage. So I'd love to see what all the battle's about.
Here, check it out.
Ven para acá. Ven acá.
It's different though.
Ma, ven acá. Ma. Amá.
Dude, that's not the guy that they shot in Pueblo.
Yeah.
That's the guy they shot a week later. But they didn't straight up murder him too.
Hold on. It says right here in the search bar that that's Osman Hernandez?
Wait, what? You see your phone?
Yeah, man. The guy we just saw was Carlos something or other.
Mejia. Carlos Mejia.
Yeah, that's right. That's when all those protests happened. Remember?
Oh, yeah. Wait, then why does Carlos' shooting come up as Osman's?
Because to them, we're all the same. You see? Just proves my point. Here, take a look for yourselves.
Hernandez. Those who knew him say he was a farm worker and was waving a field knife. This is surveillance video of Hernandez. That's him behind the flag just after he left a nearby bar. Police shot him after first deploying their taser guns.
After they give you the first electrical, they went, I think if you went in the floor, the knife there was on one side, and then the police shot him after he was on the floor.
Alright, I'm sorry guys, but you think the police assassinated him? Based on what?
Based on the footage and the eyewitness accounts.
Yeah, but this footage doesn't show anything. Or at least not for Osman. And for, as far as I know, for the other guy, what's his name?
Carlos Mejia.
Yeah, him. As far as I'm concerned, he had a weapon, dude. He was asking for it. What do you expect?
What do you expect? Are you serious right now? What about Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, Michael Brown, Philandro Castillo, Sandra Bland? They're targeting us.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Freaking cops. Always killing our people.
Come on, man. First off, all those people you mentioned are black, not Mexican. And none of that happened in Salinas.
That doesn't make it any better. We're all the same to them. Why can't you get that? The only difference is victims like Pedro Villanueva and Jesse Hernandez don't get as much new coverage.
Look, the cops are trained. They don't just kill for no reason. The people who get shot, they put themselves in that situation by breaking the law. Police aren't responsible for that. They have to make split decisions. And plus, they're not all bad. My uncle's a correction officer, and as far as I know, he's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, but not every cop is your uncle.
Well, what would you have done?
Well,
All right. Let's say you're one of those cops in front of the guy with the garden shears. How do you arrest him without firing a shot?
for starters, I try and de-escalate the situation.
Now comes the part in our program where we ask you to determine the next course of action. How do you think the officer should de-escalate the situation? Your options are, number 1, use pepper spray. Number 2, use taser. Number 3, use a baton. Please text either 1, 2, or 3 to number 831-272-2715. Again, it's 831-272-2715. The options are number 1, use a taser. Number 1, use pepper spray. Number 2, use a taser. Or number 3, baton. Or if you look above in the projection, you have 3 options. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the votes are in, and it looks like we are going to use pepper spray first.
Okay, Mr. Expert, how exactly would you de-escalate the situation?
I could use pepper spray like this.
Requesting backup. We got a possible 459. The subject is not compliant and is waving that what appears to be garden shears.
Freeze! Drop the weapon! I said don't move!
If you do not comply, we will use force. Get your spray ready.
Getting his pepper spray from his belt,
Last chance, buddy. Drop your weapon now!
Mejia begins to ramble in Spanish. He takes a step towards Officer 1. Officer 1 deploys the pepper spray. Mejia is hit with the pepper spray and immediately drops the shears to rub his eyes. Officer 2 tackles Mejia from behind and both officers subdue the subject.
And boom! No one gets shot.
Bro, that's not even realistic. He'd have to be way closer than that to taser him, and that puts the cop in danger.
Actually, the typical range for pepper spray is about 30 feet. And if you look at the footage, the cops were well within 30 feet when they shot him.
The next most voted option was taser.
Requesting backup. We got a possible 459. The subject is not compliant and is waving what appears to be garden shears.
Freeze! Drop the weapon!
He does not respond and mumbles, staggering around.
I said don't move!
If you do not comply, we will be forced to tase you. Get your taser ready.
Removing his taser from his belt,
Last chance, buddy. Drop your weapon now!
Mejia begins to ramble in Spanish. He takes a step towards Officer 1. Officer 1 deploys the taser. Mejia is hit, immediately locks up, drops the shears, and falls to the ground. Officer 2 approaches the suspect and begins to cuff him.
You see? And no one died.
Alright, but what if he's on bath salts or something? What if the taser doesn't even work? They said both cops used their tasers, and one of them missed, and the other one was a dud. So what then, fool?
Okay, fine. But you can still use...
Our last option was baton.
Okay. Let's check it out.
Freeze, drop your weapon!
Mejia does not respond, mumbles, and staggers around.
If you do not comply, we will use force.
Removing a baton from his belt,
Get your baton ready.
removing the baton from his belt.
Last chance, buddy, drop your weapon now!
Mejia begins to ramble in Spanish. He takes a step towards Officer. Officer 2 charges and wraps Mejia from behind, using his baton.
Drop him! Drop him!
Officer 1 hits Mejia as he is being held by Officer 2. Mejia drops his shears and falls to the ground. Officer 1 hits Mejia again, and again, and again. Officer 1 begins to get carried away. Musician intervenes and breaks it up.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
What are you doing, man?
Well, sorry, you weren't listening.
Yeah, dude, but you just can't beat him. You could kill him like that.
How was I supposed to know that? You just threw me in there.
That's the point. You're supposed to know. Look, any way you slice it, this job is hard. But is it really that hard to understand why they should be held to a higher standard? They have so much power. They can protect you, arrest you, save you, or kill you. Preservation of life is supposed to be their prime directive, yet instances like this happen all the time. I think a lot of it has to do with insufficient training, and they know it too. It's even on their website. I'm on the Department of Justice's website right now. Here's what they found in a report on the Salinas Police Department. Look. 1. Officers do not receive regular training on how to effectively respond to individuals with mental health issues. 2. Officers do not receive adequate training on use of force de-escalation, especially with regard to people with mental health issues. 3. There are notable deficiencies within the department's internal complaint and investigation process that brings into question the department's ability to hold officers accountable. 4. Police and community relations are significantly frayed, and the police department does not appear to fully appreciate this disconnect. 5. There exist notable deficiencies within internal communications that result in confusion within the ranks and contributes to low morale.
And what did they do about it? Nothing.
Making changes takes time.
But in the meantime, we're still targets, and they're still shooting us. These laws ain't written for us. They're written against us. That's why you gotta resist any way you can. Why do you think I tag? Because sometimes I get heated. I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have my art. It's the only time I feel at peace.
Rap is like that for me. That's how I process all the crap I gotta deal with.
Right?
I know, right? Playing guitar is pretty much the only way I can really relax and get my mind to stop racing.
For real though. Yo, did I show you guys my... Did I show you guys my new piece yet? Removes a little black. Let's see here. Check it out.
Hey.
Whoa,
that's dope.
That's the one. You went in, bro.
Thanks, man. I got a bunch of them. Take a look.
Man, can I borrow it again? I want to show it to a friend. She's an artist too, and I'll give it back to you tomorrow, man.
Dang, look at Quali trying to holler at the money. Yeah, no problem. Just don't lose it.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I don't need administrators flipping through my book.
I'll give it to you tomorrow, man.
All right, guys. I hate to break this up, but it's almost 4 and I gotta dip.
I gotta go too. I told my grandpa I'd help him with his car.
Transition zone.
Know your rights! All 3 of them. You have the right to not be
A
killed.
kid wearing a dark hoodie crosses the stage. Cop spots him and suspiciously follows.
Stop right there!
Gun pointing towards kid.
What did I do?
Shoots kid without warning.
He lunged at me.
Murder is a crime.
Unless it was done.
Unless it was done by a policeman or aristocrat.
Blue lives matter! Blue lives matter! Blue
investigation.
Excuse me, ma'am, but your case number has been open for review. We'd like to ask you a few questions regarding your income. It has come to our attention that you have not been reporting your full gross annual income.
Pero no tengo dinero.
And if you keep your fingers crossed, rehabilitation.
You don't have money, eh? Well, then you're going to prison for fraud.
No, please, no! Mija! This isn't fair!
Know your rights. These are your rights. Know your rights. Number 3, you have the right to free speech.
Water is life! 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 I can't breathe!
You're hurting him! Stop! You're going to kill him!
I got you on camera. As long as you're not dumb enough to actually try it.
Officer releases a protester. He rolls over, limp, and motionless.
Know your rights. Know your rights.
Know your rights!
Know your rights.
Know your rights!
Nice.
Outside of school.
I am the master of myself and of my energy. You are the master of yourself and of your energy. I am the master of myself and of my energy. Every step I take needs to bring out the best in me. I am the master of myself and of my energy. You are the master of yourself and of your energy. I am
Hands against the wall!
Quali Guerrero, please report to the main office. Quali Guerrero, report to the office immediately.
While he gets up and leaves, in the office,
Give me your backpack and take a seat, Qually.
Quali hesitates. Police officer pulls his backpack off and pushes him into a seat.
Don't make this more difficult on yourself.
I didn't do anything.
Police officer digs through the bag and finds the notebook.
Oh yeah? Well, these drawings tell a different story.
That's not even mine. I borrowed it from...
Let me guess. A friend gave it to you, right? You must think I'm really stupid. Listen, kid. I put bad apples like you away for a lot less, so you better start telling me the truth. Let's take a ride.
Interrogation room.
Tell me the name of your gang.
We're artists, not criminals.
So it is your notebook.
It's not. It's a shared book for artists, and people pass it around. A friend just let me take a look at it.
Really then? So tell me then, which one of your friends had the guts to defile public property with these scribbles?
I don't know.
It's just a miracle you have a book full of all the same crap pinned all over town.
I already told
Don't
you.
BS me. Look at this. Don't give me your excuses. Your people are full of them.
What do you mean, my people?
You know exactly what I mean.
Actually, I don't.
Nothing but lazy criminals in the making. I should save myself some time to put you away now.
Sergeant, what are you doing? Is this still a graffiti case? We have bigger problems right now. Officers are in need at North Main and East Bolivar.
Yes, sir. You got lucky, kid. But I'm not forgetting about this. You better watch yourself.
Quali exits, and he is released. Waiting for him is his grandfather to take him home. They exit the police station right and enter the car center stage. Projections light up behind them as grandfather reflects, looking into the rearview mirror.
Ay, mijo. How did you end up here? Don't you know not to get involved with the law?
It was all a misunderstanding, Abuelo. It won't happen again, I swear.
Well, I hope not. I didn't come here to pick strawberries and lettuce for you to be a pandillero.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, mijo. You're a really great son. You are. It's hard not to get worked up knowing how la policía can treat a young Chicano man like you. When I was your age, mijo, how old are you?
16.
16? Eres hombre. Anyways, when I was your age, I came to America.
When you were 16?
Sí, mijo. And I came here by myself, thanks to the Bracero program.
What was the Bracero program?
Híjole, where to begin? For starters, America had been in World War II for about a year. At that moment, the United States began to endure a shortage in labor force in the fields. I remember it like yesterday.
The Bracero program is a big black eye for this country. I hope it never comes back. I don't believe this gas will be paid. It's slave labor to me.
This is the vanguard of 1,500 Mexicans brought to the state by the Farm Security Administration. Most are laborers. All of them are bachelors.
The Bracero program was a guest worker agreement between the United States and Mexican governments, renewed in several forms from 1942 to 1964. In those 22 years, approximately 2 million Braceros signed 4.5 million contracts.
You know who else worked in the fields before?
Those Okies? The Great Depression.
Órale, muchacho. That's right. Well, a lot of the Okies had gone off to fight in the war, so in order to keep the crops from rotting, los Americanos asked us Mexicanos to work in the fields.
So the Americans asked us for help? Oh, not much has changed.
Carajo, you're telling me. When I was a little chiquitito during the war, but 10 years later the Bracero program was still asking for men. So I told mi mamá, your great-grandma, that it was time for me to go and become my own man.
How did you feel about that?
She was heartbroken, but she knew I had to do it. And she was proud of me.
I wish I had a story to tell like that.
You do, muchacho. You're a Mexican-American living in America. Your whole life has been a story. Pues, my tail light is out, and we just came from the police station. Hijo, have you ever learned about Mexican California?
California was in Mexico?
Yes, mijo. What are they teaching you at that school?
Good evening, senor. Do you know why I pulled you over?
Good evening, officer. I believe it was my tail light.
That's right, sir. Your right tail light is out. And from the sounds of it, you knew all along. Is there anything you have to say about that?
Yes, officer. It just went out this week. I haven't had a chance to change it.
Right. Mumble, mumble, mumble. Okay, sir. I'm only following orders, so I do have to ask you for proof of a license and registration. Can you provide that to me, sir?
I do. Here you go.
Thank you. And again, I'm only following protocol, and hopefully I can get the both of you out of here as quickly as possible.
Thank you, sir. So, California was once a part of Mexico.
Excuse me, sir, but I'm going to have to ask you to step out of the car. It appears your residency papers are expired, and the ICE unit will need to see you for further inspection.
What? Why? He's been living in this country for 30 years.
Juanín, no. No lo provoques. I'm sorry, officer. I didn't realize. But I understand. I will come with you. Juanín, walk home and tell your padre to come pick up the car and let abuela know that I will talk to her soon.
Pero abuelo.
Do as your grandfather says, kid, or I will be forced to take you to the station as well.
Abuelo and Quali exchange a look, and Quali concedes. The officer handcuffs him and takes him to his car. Quali watches. tears and anger building up. They drive off and Kuali runs out with stage left. At home, Abuela and Kuali. Abuela is packing her husband's belongings and Kuali enters and is upset, pacing back and forth in the room.
How can you just accept this? It's not right. It's not fair.
Yo sé, mijo. It's okay to be angry. We all are. But we have to stay strong and calm for your abuelo. Tenemos que permanecer con la mente clara. We shouldn't allow our fear and anger to overpower us. This was a hard lesson both your abuelo and I had to learn during the bracero and grape strikes. But it's exactly what they expect from us, so they can justify their own prejudices.
How can I stay calm, Abuela, when they can just send them back to Mexico like nothing? After 35 years of working the land, harvesting the crops, under the worst conditions, barely making any wages, this is how they repay him? This is exactly what I mean. Why should I even try if they're just gonna criminalize us anyway? If hardworking men like Abuelo are taken from their homes and families, why should I even bother?
Kuali, no te rindas. Your abuelo worked hard for you and this family to have the life we never did. If you succeed, we succeed. I know this is hard, mijo, but we will overcome. I have faith your abuelo will return home soon. In the meantime, we must stay strong. Remember where you come from and let it fill you with courage. Wali means good in Nahuatl, our ancestors' native language. You are named after all that is good in this world. Tienes la responsabilidad de ser la luz, de ayudar a iluminar el camino que nos libre.
Pero como, Abuela? It's a lot of responsibility, and the odds are stacked against me. They're watching and waiting for me to fail.
Sí. Y por eso tienes que comprobar lo contrario. You have to prove them wrong. If they expect a criminal, show them an educated man. Y si esperan violencia por tu parte, enséñales una persona noble. If they expect you to be lazy and indifferent, show them you are engaged and compassionate. Show them by using your voice, by voting every chance you get, through protests, boycotts, and community organizing. This is how you make change, Wally.
Entiendo lo que me dices, Abuela, but it's so much easier said than done. Maybe that's why things never change. But I can't just do nothing. It hurts too much to do nothing. I don't even want this to keep happening to our gente, pero I can't do it alone. Others need to stand up with me. Todos necesitan que hacer el esfuerzo de educarse. When our culture, our history, and our comunidad is under attack, all we need to stand is together and take responsibility for the future of our community and our people. How else will we expect to see change?
Sí, mijito, es cierto. La vida es cíclica. History continues to repeat itself, losing and gaining with every revolution. What will happen to our next generation? You are not the first generation entrusted with the fate of our future and inspired to rise to action. Many rights and privilege you have now are a direct result of past generaciones that were brave enough to unite and overcome. Now is your opportunity. What will you do?
So, welcome back again. The last time we were here, I'm Chago from Box 12, and the last time we were here, we had a conversation. We had a conversation going about what artists think we're able to present. A lot of the audience members were compelled to share their thoughts. And for tonight, we want to kind of do the same thing again. So we want to go ahead and start with one question, a question to the audience. And basic question, what came up for you? What kind of feelings that came up for you? Just the feelings. If you could just keep it to the feelings, like what you felt, that would be great. I know once we start opening, start talking, we kind of want to start talking about what we saw, and what we should do, or maybe give opinions and suggestions, but we want to hold off on that. What we basically want to identify first is the overall feeling or the meaning that you got from it. Wes, go for it.
Dude, when you guys mentioned Hernandez and Mejia, dude, I just felt like a stab in the gut right there, dude. That's what I felt.
Anybody else? Injustice.
You felt the injusticia, the injustice. How did that feel though? Is it a physical feeling?
Yes, absolutely.
How many?
At the very beginning, you had just the friends speaking. The combo feels right, because sometimes you get stuck in a certain thing, and you'll never know where your friend will be. And so that conversation, I was like, yeah, that's my boys. Everybody may look the same, but the opinions are different. So I was like, that felt right.
We have a limited audience here, so we really need you. Every voice matters. Every voice counts.
Shared frustration, seeing things acted out that because of the
There's frustration.
A lot of frustration. All right, so if anything else comes up, we're going to continue. There's 3 more questions I have, right? But if something comes up, we can take it back to that first question. We can do that too. The next question I have is, what questions do you have? What questions do you have for the writing team, the production? We have Dante Carvalho over there in the back, who did a lot to put a lot of work. Unsung hero, thankless job. That's you. Thank you. We're bringing in, as you can tell, the technology, meshing in different mediums, live theater, and an interactive element using our own cell phones. I think the focus of the piece was really to kind of help our audience, the Salinas audience or the Breadbox audience to start practicing voice, right? And the piece obviously kind of gives space for that. What questions come up for you, right? About about maybe that, or just the approach, or anything else? Wes?
With the number 1, 2, and 3, I was thinking option 4, use suicide prevention negotiation, and that wasn't even an option, just force, and that tripped me out. But I can understand that, but it wasn't one of the options I was actually looking for. Was that intentional?
So I think that I know that the results of the answers were based on the literal police, their order of procedures. Yeah, their order of procedures. So
right, escalation of force.
Yeah, correct.
And that was specifically because the Carlos Miguel, he wasn't responsive to them, right? And so because he had a weapon, that's just their perceived.
So that's the thing where like you look up one guy, what was I don't remember the other guy was. The one that was in Pueblo, and then the other guy.
Carlos Mejia was the.
Shears.
Yeah, the Shears right here. Yeah.
Osman was.
And so if you look up one, then the other one always pops up, or that's just how it works?
Yeah. So
Yeah, look it up right now, and if you.
I was going to, but you know, it's like the lights are out.
You go home, look it up right now, and you're gonna see if you look up Osman, this guy's gonna come up. Mejia's gonna come up.
That's interesting. Why don't you have enough advertising just to let them know that this is coming?
And you guys don't have to answer that.
Fun question.
You don't have to answer that. You don't have to answer that because I think for one, well, let me just in defense of the production, it was all about the production. We're really kind of focusing on the rewriting and whatnot. And there's only so much. I'm saying giving my own answer to this. I'm sorry.
What I'm saying is that there's a lot of free advertising out there to let you know that this is happening, and to get the community more involved, which is what you guys want, right?
Yeah.
To get more input, more people, like have your families running in here, right?
So that's a great point. So last time, the last run that we did have a lot more of our families here, and we did have a lot more like community here. But this time, I think there was a deep rush to just try to take the community feedback that we had and create the production and make the piece happen. So this really, like I said at the beginning, is ideally like our first tack that you're seeing. You're seeing the first time the production fully comes together and is here. So no, there wasn't a whole lot of push for advertising this time, but also it isn't the full production yet. So it's not, this is not the end of the road. This is barely like the first beginning.
This is the second.
Kind of.
Second version.
It's the second, it's a completely different piece. It's a completely different piece.
And on that, when you had the option 1, 2, 3, or 4, one of the things that came up on the Mejia one, they had tased him like 3 or 4 times, and Salinas officers didn't have the right equipment, they didn't have the right training, and here they always say that they're training our police officers on how to use these things, and none of them knew how to do it.
What they had claimed was that that both officers had allegedly tried to deploy their tasers, but like it says in the dialogue, one of them did it and the prongs missed him, because there's 2 prongs that come out and they missed him. And then the other officer did it, but nothing came out of the chamber. So it was just completely like malfunctional from the beginning.
So they don't have the training and we don't have the equipment to work.
They don't have the proper equipment, right, because that doesn't fire all the time, right? Like a gun fires all the time, but.
And the barbs.
Or the gun first.
Well, the gun lasts. We're trying to make a point that that there are other ways to de-escalate the situation, and perhaps maybe in future productions we could include video where cops actually do everything they can not to shoot the man. But when you look at those videos versus the videos where people get shot, overwhelmingly the evidence suggests that the reason why they take extra they take extra steps to preserve life is because the suspect or the subject is white. And that's what you see overwhelmingly.
Another thing with the tasers, they got barbs and it has to make contact. Both the probes have to make contact with the skin, because if it doesn't, it doesn't have electrical current.
With the skin or with the, because they don't do the skin, don't they do the
Well,
clothing?
no, it has to hit the skin. If it hits clothing, it doesn't make full body contact.
You're kidding.
And yeah, so that's why it became a dud too.
Pepper spray, pepper
reason.
spray.
Yeah, that's why we offer the options too, because I mean even the tasers, the range only it's limited to 15 feet, and then the pepper spray is twice as far, but then again, you have to be pretty on your target. But when you look at the proximity of the officers to the perpetrator when he was shot, he's well within
Right in the distance.
or pepper spray.
And more than one cop can pepper spray,
Right, right. One of the issues that we didn't touch on in this production was the fact that when they did shoot Carlos Mejia, they shot right into an intersection, and right behind Carlos Mejia is a Silverado, a white Chevy Silverado at an intersection. So we didn't cover that, but I mean, a lot of these things are like, things that we gotta also kind of iron out and find a way to stitch them into what we already have. But yeah, there's a lot of issues.
What questions do you have? And I'm gonna leave it invite all the cast and Dante. Do you have for the audience, like, what do you think, like, if there's anything that you would want them to kind of, or just anything, like, did they get this, or how did this work, or, how good you look in the light,
I don't need to ask. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm curious for those that were here for the first showing, which was more production, right? And then are here for this one. I think it's, I don't know, maybe it's
Really just cutting out, right?
But do you have any questions or comments on like the changes? It's a drastic change, the story.
The ice thing was good, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a very, were you guys purposely going for like a clear, clean situation where it just wasn't right? Because the one that just happened with the dude at the county, if you go on Facebook, man, the debate over that dude is like the conversation that was on the side.
Yeah.
And so were you purposely going for like a clear cut, this is not right, and that was your statement about ICE, or do you just want like a conversation?
It was mostly written, focused on Quali's like transition, and he was the one seeing how unjust this was happening, and he was changing his perspective on his own opinion on police. He was mistreated himself, like he was put into the system for some reason.
So I guess the situation now is even if the kid was tagging something up, if he's just carrying a little something in the pocket now, and he didn't know, he was undocumented, then that's a phone call. That's that phone call that comes down to ICE now that we found out from this past couple of weeks.
Yeah, even that. I think that's important to maybe.
But it depends. Do you want the clear situation like grandfather with the abuelo, or do you want like
complicated real life?
Those are kind of mixed. It wasn't very clear.
Yeah.
Another question for you guys, or Dante, or for the audience?
What happened to the stuff? There was like the discussions of the old school before, like where there was people sitting back to back.
Oh yeah, so you're talking about the interrogation rooms.
Yeah.
So with this,
it was the 60s and the present day.
Yeah. Right. So I think part of that, and I think that's for me, like as the artist and part of like the writing team, that's what was missing for me, was like that still the throwback information. Right. So I think we're still trying to find like the sweet spot, how to intertwine that, and it'll probably exist more in the abuelo scenes a little bit once we get to that point. But I definitely hear you, and I miss them too. But the thing is that we didn't want to force something like cram into the interrogation scene with all these characters that didn't necessarily like have much place in this new world that we were creating. And it's a tricky balance because you're trying to create like a through line that's consistent, that an audience can follow, and that can invest in the characters that are created. But then also trying to still approach all these different topics and all these generations. So, but I agree. I miss that too. But thank you. Thank you.
You need a little more blending within from one generation to the other. The conversation kind of lost it from it.
And also, I guess, know that a lot of this is geared towards the youth. So it's meant to connect very specifically with like the young generation to make sure that they're interested and they're like, you know what I mean? Like we have to engage them in a way that's going to make them want to become active. So.
I'm a substitute teacher. I see the kids all the time. That's.
Sorry, Dominique. You know, I was very glad that you put in the DOJ, part of the DOJ report, and I guess to that effect, there is a thing called the Police Community Advisory Committee. They just changed the thing. They're trying to weaken it and make it go away, I think. But they weakened it from 14 to 7 members. And the whole thrust of that is community is supposed to advise the police on how the community wants to be treated, not just a police state of like, you do what I say or you might get shot or die. And I think that would be a positive, another avenue of availability to lend legitimacy, to start going to these kind of things and voicing the issues of the day of what's really hurting people. And, you know, I suppose I'm all about policy change. I'm all about updating and being true to your word, you know, and obviously our politics are not like that. So I would encourage this group and other groups to keep on going, like Police Community Advisory Committee. I'm going to get like a bunch of homeless people to come and say, you know, stop giving us tickets, stop persecuting us for being too poor to afford rent. You know, and the same struggle as the immigrant struggle, as the homeless struggle, as the colored person struggle. Everything that's not white privilege, male-oriented, and dominating, controlling, greedy bullshit. So I encourage you to go keep on, yeah, I love it.
And that was my next question. Was our next part of the question was, what suggestions and opinions would you have for the crew? And that sounds like the first suggestion, right? Give me a word. Anybody else here have another suggestion and opinion or opinion for the presentation, for the work?
With the video clips, maybe throw in after the shooting a few of all those white killers who always somehow get brought in without a scratch.
Yeah.
And do the perp walk, smiling.
Yeah. With Burger King in.
You want to get a few kids pissed off.
Yeah.
I have a question for the audience. Because I think it's good to kind of check ourselves in terms of being one-sided or you know, being
subjective or objective.
Yeah. Do you think that anyone who is politically opposed to some of the messages we have to offer would be alienated by some of the content or some of the things that we have to say? And if so, how are some ways that we could improve that to make it more inclusive? Yes, yeah. Inclusive, accessible, approachable, safe.
Right, easy.
Yeah, but safe, but not like in a snowflake kind of Berkeley way. You know what I mean? Like in a
Sorry, Berkeley.
To do it in a political manner, then, I mean, Scott's a council member. Does he represent this area?
Yeah, he does. Well, the deeper east side, I think Barrera's got this.
You could reach out to him and say, what do you take from this presentation? And he can't just brush you guys off, because you're his district. You know, and he's a deputy sheriff. You know, so he has the opinion of not only a politician, but of a cop. You know, so I mean, he's not going to give you an answer a regular cop's going to give you, but it's a start.
Thank you.
You know, I talked to Davis before, and one of his big things that I heard, you know, him say about, you know, cop shootings and such, he said, you know, the citizen has the duty to retreat, and if you don't, then the officer has the duty to protect, and that usually means shooting. You know, so that's what he cited as a law, as a citizen has a duty to retreat, and I found that kind of interesting. Kind of justifies why everybody gets shot and why nobody gets a lawsuit.
Any other suggestions or opinions?
Just take it outside. I guess you couldn't do it with the technology.
Well, we plan to take it like on the road eventually, within the community. So.
And I guess with that, what are your next? My question would be, what are your next? What's the next steps? What's the timeline look like? Maybe let our audience know.
So I think right now we're going to take a little, I say break, but really in between though we'll be doing work in between there. So taking the information that we've gotten from this piece in comparison to the last piece that we did, and merging a little bit more, making things a little bit clearer and cohesive. We said getting the different perspectives, right, and through generations. So taking all of that and trying to absorb as much as we can within the piece, and just making it strong enough that it can sustain every opinion and every emotion, which is not going to be, that's not realistic, but to the best of our ability, right, trying to make it, like I said, all as encompassing as possible. So we're here in May now, so probably I would say about 3 months from now you can look to see like a fully done production. I think these are 3 to 4 months, I would say, would be a safer rate.
Talking August or
Yeah.
beginning of school?
Probably right before August, yeah.
Are there any situations that the Salinas Police Department has done for this community? Anything positive that they've done that you can present in there?
The PAL program, I think, is pretty positive.
The PAL program?
Isn't the Bread Box also there?
Yeah.
No, not.
No, the city owns.
The one thing I'll give to the chief is the chief's been at all the immigration forums. Like Bernal, the sheriff, man, that guy.
He knows shit.
I barely saw him once at a board of supervisors meeting. It was like a minute. Like that's how rare I ever saw him. But Presley, I'm not gonna lie, she goes in time after time and she's taking the hits. You know, it's the same thing every time. Hey, it's not back nice, but I'll give her credit. If she's going to all these spots and taking hit after hit after hit, that's rough, you know, but she'll take it. So.
And since it's not really her, since it's not the city of Salinas, and you know, I believe that, you know, when they say like the immigrants, they're not really worried about immigration status, they already believe everybody's a gangster anyway. You know, so.
I have another question for the audience. Is there anything in the presentation that you found to be factually questionable or just simply untrue that we need to address? Like facts that were just simply not true?
Really?
I'm not sure about that, the Bracero program, if that is clear.
The Bracero program?
It was clear, or what do you mean?
I didn't get it all. I know the Bracero program, you know, they were here to work, and they said they were all single men, which we found out, of course, is not true. They had wives in Mexico, they had wives in California. They were supposed to, the Bracero program was also said to be a retirement program, all the people that work. And I understand how they had to sue them to get that. And most of those have died. So what good is that? What does Bracero program do in California for our people?
It's the evolution of slavery.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for a lot.
But they still slave them because they still charge them rent. They still charge them all the food.
Right. I mean, they don't call it slavery. They give them a wage, and therefore.
And then took it all back.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think what with the importance around the Bracero program highlighting that, we're all pretty much spawns of, we are the children and grandchildren, and great-grandchildren of Braceros. And I think what we have seen has been the systematic, just the systematic exploitation of a labor force that doesn't know the language, doesn't know the culture, doesn't know the laws, and are vulnerable, and and then the fear that the fear that plays into it to secure, to protect the grower industry, the $10 billion a year grower industry that doesn't pay any taxes to the city and allows the kind of violence that the families and children of these farm workers experience on a daily basis. You know, this is an industry that doesn't like pay into any kind of health care for our most hardest working families. So this is beginning to scratch, this is part of that surface, of scratching that surface. And then for us on this side to understand that the United States had won World War II because it had a labor force. Germany didn't have braceros, Japan didn't have braceros, Italy didn't have braceros, but the United States did, and because of that labor force, they were able to send the Okies out across the Pacific, over to Europe to do that kind of work. So, yeah, I think with the bracero thing is like it's still there, still to unpack, it's still ready to kind of like, you know,
Seeker Street.
Learn, you know, a lot of things that we don't talk about and are hard to talk about, you know. And seeing how like that's directly related to the violence that's happening today is not by coincidence.
Because not all our people are in the fields anymore.
A lot more from the south of Mexico, from Central America, a lot more, yeah, but then a lot of our native folks, like native Oaxaqueños, Triqui, a lot of folks that speak, they don't even know Spanish.
Yeah.
So that's, they're just getting more and more vulnerable.
Yep.
And what are we doing to protect that? And what kind of basically it's asking what kind of responsibility do we have?
Is this just dealing with the Mexican people and the police, or the Mexican people and everything?
I think it's community.
Yeah, it's community.
Community as a whole.
Also.
And somewhat the effect that police hate has on people.
Well, it is, I think that it is very specific to the Mexican community, but, you know, relates to the larger Latino community in general in the country. But, I mean, the point is that, you know, we're all in the same boat. Like, there's a reason why they reference, you know, Tamir Rice and Sandra Bland and, you know, all these other people, Philandro Castillo, that have been shot down, because certainly what happened there, and what's happened in a lot of other places in the city, is very, very similar to what's been happening all across the country. And, you know, there's a reason why that, I don't know, there's a reason why police can shoot people and face no consequences. And there's a reason why they prosecute people who accidentally shoot police defending their home, right? We have a case like that in Detroit right now, where a black man shot 2 police officers with a shotgun because he believed that they were trying to burglarize his home. And now that man is facing 20 years in prison. And you better believe that that legal process for him has been very, very swift for him, because he's a civilian that shot police officers. Now, if you reverse the scenario, which happens all the time, police officers in Dallas shot a little kid named Jordan, 14 years old, in a car on accident, right? And you know, it probably was an accident. But the point is that legal process is going to go a lot slower than the black man in Michigan that shot 2 cops because they thought that they were robbing his mama's house. He was protecting his mama, his kids. And because he's black, and because he's a civilian, and because he's poor, and he ain't shit, they're gonna prosecute him as fast as they can, to the full extent of the law as they can. Because that shit is dangerous to them. Because that threatens the whole system that we have. That threatens the very fabric of what the system was founded on. That threatens the whole class system that we have. It goes all the way back to the 1600s. There's a reason why they don't like white people and black people to be friends. There's a reason for that.
Now, to add to what Andres is saying, the fact that the civilian shooting police officer, a lot of what people will call the liberal gun laws of California are not actual liberal gun laws. They come from the 1960s conservatives. And what was happening in Berkeley and Oakland in the 1960s, the Black Panthers and the Brown Berets were arming themselves, protecting themselves from the police, policing the police. They didn't like that. So what did they do? Let's get these guns away from these spics. Let's get these guns away from the Black Panthers. And now they're so scared that, oh, they're trying to take our guns because they're damn snowflake liberals. It finally turned on them, you know? And they're not recognizing why. And I don't know how much further I can go with this. It's just, I'm getting to.
You're talking about when the Black Panthers went into the state capitol when Reagan was governor. And so Reagan began a lot of those gun laws in California, who of course is now, praise be his name, the Republican Party. The one thing I did like about that conversation on the side about, but they're black and we're Mexican, is when you talk about something like Fernando Castillo. I was in Minneapolis for a couple of years, and it's not like here where people amongst the minority community get along pretty well. In Minneapolis, it can be very tough, because in Minneapolis, you got not only the Latino population, which could be from anywhere from Central America to Mexico, you have Africans and African Americans, the Somalis, the Kenyans, you have Hmong, you have a lot of different groups mixing in there, and there's a lot of friction even amongst minority communities. Like there was one school I didn't want to go to because the Latinos and the African Americans, they didn't get along, and their parents were beefing too. And so at least one principal was removed. So I did like the honesty of the conversation with that's the black kids. Because that does happen in other cities, where there's already the friction amongst the communities, because, it's a bigger city, and there's a lot of complications.
And a lot of the big lesson around there, and I think it supports the argument for, well, I know it supports the argument for ethnic studies, is the history of cross-cultural alliances, the moments where communities from different backgrounds have united and executed some kind of action, right? It's those alliances that really, once there's some kind of unification that appears, that's present, it's momentary, they're really fleeting, but for the most part, those are the shows of force that I believe media does a real good job in making it a black and white issue. Because we had about 4 or 5, right, in that one year, 2014, but, in the back of our mind, we know that there's been police killing after police killing after police killing of Latinos, in the last, even, since 2010, since Obama was president, since Obama started, he got into office, those years, and now, to now. So how do brown folks become a gray issue in the police violence? I think is something that is raised right here, but the potential of finding and aligning or finding and understanding a lot more of the history of the cross-cultural, the alliances, basically, the cross-cultural alliances.
But then you also have to bring the Filipinos if you're going to talk about the Ceros.
Yeah.
Filipinos. And how all that started.
I have a question. If he's the grandfather, then are you a dreamer?
I guess it's possible.
Well,
Was he born
no.
here? Basically, was he born here?
He'll be born here, yeah.
So I'm assuming that he came
By then.
in from that many years ago, then.
Well, more than likely his child is a
claimed that he was
citizen.
born here.
Yeah.
The dreamers, I think, are the first generation that were the dreamers are the way that I understand it in terms of the Dream Act is that the dreamers are the ones that were born in Mexico but that grew up in the United States.
Right.
Brought in by their migrant parents, right?
Right.
Yeah, but they were born in Mexico.
Right.
Or
Anywhere, Central or South America, didn't matter.
We can, it's just not something we did.
Yeah, that's where we're at now. This young man that got because he's designated gang.
in our community, there are
There are a lot of them.
there are a lot of dreamers.
And that's actually the people that you're talking about.
And I know this will be hella work and this will be way down the line, but just with it. Take it back to the 1700s where the Indians are deporting people and they're going to George Washington. Yeah, he might be a dreamer, but Alexander Hamilton wasn't born in America. Just take
Or
it
Jamaica.
all the way back.
And I think part of it too
Isn't
is
that
like,
what we're doing already?
this is just like one of like what we eventually hope to be like multiple pieces. So this is like the first bookend, right? Remember with the introduction.
That'd be like the greatest pop episode ever if you could like dudes from the Iroquois Nation just on the shoulder. If so, it's English illegals again. Food. You remember when we gave them food that one time and they haven't left?
And they put the flag over California and said, go to Texas.
If you don't use it, I'm going to have to steal that idea from someone.
Then we'll take it. Don't run away with that.
Great episode of Cops.
All right, thank you very much, everybody.